Wealth Management, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The Real Money Pros with Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates. The weekend's smartest money show. Investing, taxes, legal topics, insurance, and every other confusing money topic made simple.
All right, happy Saturday to you. This is the Real Money Pros. We're talking about we are actually talking live as fiduciaries, advisors only. That's all we do. Jeremiah Bates is here. I'm Brian Wiley. You can pick us up online podcasting at your radio station that you're listening to right now. But nonetheless, we want you to pay attention. But we're going to ask you a question today. The question is how do you feel about things? We've got markets at all-time highs. We've got maybe some conflicting news coming out of the Federal Reserve as far as what their economic data is showing. We noticed that they only lowered the rate by a quarter point. But how do you feel about things in the economy, about your money, about the finances that you've seen develop over the last couple of years? How do you feel about it? I'm starting to get a lot of friends, Jeremiah, that will reach out to me. One buddy of mine has been following some trades that I gave him back in April. And these trades were right when the market completely got smashed. Trump had announced the tariffs, and we saw what we believed to be capitulation, which is where you've got a lot of investors that were selling. And they just threw in the towel and said, I'm done. I'm sitting it out. They sit on the cash on the sidelines, really doing nothing. That's that capitulation effect, which leaves a real opportunity for buyers to go in and pick up things at low prices, which in theory is what I was doing, because I had this idea that, President Trump he's got friends. He's got friends around the world, and he's going to carve out special deals. And so this bad news is going to be incrementally improved as we go through this. And it's kind of happened exactly like that. We're probably on our third round with China now, I think, on this tariff thing, which, by the way, I have a set of motorcycle wheels stuck in customs because they don't know how much to charge for the tariff apparently right now. How do you feel about things? Call us, 979-59-MONEY. You can put your political spin on it. You can good, bad, ugly, but how do you feel about it? The reason why I'm saying that I've got friends reaching out to me is that they're saying, Brian, is there anything I should do? My friend that had followed those trades smartly asked me this on Monday, and I said, oh, man, I kind of forgot about you. I'm not actually managing his money, but I didn't think to reach out to him first, and so he reached out to me. I started going through his list. I'm like, oh, yeah, you want to probably do a lot, meaning you've got some outsized gains for any normal year. In fact, this would be 5 years worth of gains for you. We should probably trim off a whole bunch now, take a better look at what has been accomplished and try to figure out a way to make sure that all doesn't go away. However, respecting the fact that we have long-term buckets that don't need a lot of manipulation. So how do you work through this? We'll talk more about that here in this program. This is your live connection to financial advisors that work in the fiduciary capacity only, meaning we only work in our clients' and listeners' best interest. We sell ads. That's it. Sponsors support this program, 979-59-MONEY. So please listen to those. You don't have to buy a thing from us. Now, Jeremiah, let's talk about the market gains and where you've seen things and your excitement level. Like, let's just talk about the technicals. Like, where are we?
No, if you look at year-to-date performance, the S&P 500 is up over 13%. The NASDAQ is up over 17%. You have the international investments when you're looking at an asset class that falls under the realm of emerging markets or developed markets. Just think of countries outside of the United States. That's up 22%. NASDAQ's up over 17%. So clearly we're seeing this bull run that we've been experiencing over these past years. It's continuing to trudge along. And you could argue that it's coming down to concentration of a few companies that are driving the indexes. But if you look at historically, that kind of has been the case. You're going to have winners, you're going to have companies that are flat, and you're going to have losers. But when you're looking at it from a zoomed out lens from the index perspective, I don't think anyone at this point, and arguably including myself, that we were going to see this level of gains. Obviously, we still have another quarter to go through the end of the year. We'll see how things shake out. But overall, when you look at where we're at with the markets hitting all-time highs this week, we had some interesting commentary by the Fed. We had a quarter of a percent rate cut. Question is, where are rates going to be moving forward? The market clearly is giving their indication of where things are going. You have the bond market that's reacting to this interest rate decision. But all in all, distilling it down to your specific situation, yeah, the question has been brought up to myself as well, is hey, we're at all-time highs. Should we pivot? Should we ditch out of things? Should we capture the gain? Should we turn and run? And that answer is going to be that answer should be predicated on what are you trying to achieve? I use this term a lot, but what is your desired outcome? And in my experience, what has tripped investors up is not having that strategy, meaning let's imagine you got an inheritance. Unfortunately, maybe a family member passed away, $100,000 comes in cash, and you're like, what do I do with it? And you could arrive at this point where I've seen, especially these younger high income earners where they're sitting on a lot of cash and they're like, what should I do? The market's all time highs, so I don't want to invest in the market all time highs. There's got to be a pullback coming up eventually, right? That timing aspect or going on a gut feeling is really what could put you in that holding pattern of meaning your emotions are really going to dictate what you're doing with your money. And if that's your first step as far as allocating those funds or not allocating your funds, you're already a step behind. You got to look at it as, okay, got this money. What are my other resources? When do I want to retire? Like, what is the tangible target that I have in mind that I want this money to achieve? And let's imagine if you're like, well, it's going into retirements for my future self. I'm looking at not touching this money for 10, 15, 20 plus years. That's a great start. You're starting to then logic yourself into the timeline of the money, the tangible target, which then helps remove the emotions out of the equation. Because right now, I think emotions are high. I think there could be a little bit of a disbelief for a lot of investors of, wow, the market's been crushing it. So if you've been invested and you're experiencing those gains that I just talked about, maybe even more, well, if you're long-term money, Brian, I do appreciate your approach where you don't need to completely pivot the strategy, meaning you've already marked it long-term, you're in growth mode, where, yeah, maybe you can start to do some rebalancing. I think that has been one of the tried and true ways and has benefited successful investors over many, many decades, where you can see the items that have maybe been beat up a little bit this year or maybe that are not outperforming. So the concept of this rebalance is you had positions that you had certain weighting. Maybe you had 25% to the S&P 500. Maybe you had 10% to some mid-cap stocks, 10% to small cap. When you have the market at all-time highs like this, these are great opportunities to do that rebalance, because if you were in 25% of the S&P 500, let's say back at the end of April, you're likely out of that tolerance, meaning that band of percentage weighting you're going to be out of. So that rebalancing concept is great. Market's all-time highs. You can take that cream off the top, rebalance, get proper weighting, and in theory, you're selling high and arguably buying low depending on where that rebalance goes. But in that scenario, you're not moving to cash. You're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're not completely pivoting based on what your gut feeling is going to be. Because, hey, listen, we could run into a month from now where markets pull back 20%. I'm not anticipating that. It could happen. So you gotta take that into the calculus where long-term money, you do this rebalance. Even if the market pivots, you're fine because you weren't planning on touching that money in any point in the near term. Now, on the flip side, if you have that level of cash and you're like, I've been sitting on cash since April. I got out of the market. Now I've missed this incredible rebound, and I'm just waiting for that dip. I know that historically September is the worst month in the market, and I'm just going to wait for that big pullback, and then I'll get in, and then I'll feel better. You might not see that. So again, what is going to be to your benefit is create the strategy. Look at everything. You cannot look at just that investment on its own island. You need to look at, what are these investments going to do for me? And then you look at all the other parts of the equation, income, taxes, when you want to retire, timeline of the money, and then you can strategize, logic yourself into how I'm going to deploy this money into the market. And then that removes the emotions out of the question. Because I think the big takeaway based on what you just covered, Brian, is emotions right now. Emotions are going to be high. It's either you're going to be feeling angst of market's at all-time highs. Should I do something? You'll likely be compelled to do something, or you've missed out on this big run that we've seen this year, and now you're feeling that I can't miss out on this anymore. So I'm just going to get in from that fear of missing out. And then if we run into a big dip, that if you're going into that emotional side because you have that fear of missing out, if it turns around and drops, then those emotions are clearly going to take over, and you're going to pivot out of your strategy as soon as you see some turbulence in the market. So all that is just a long-winded way to say that Don't let emotions get into the way of your strategy. Have a logical, thought-out plan where you take in all the components of income, taxes, and everything, and let that dictate how you arrive at your investment decision.
979-59-MONEY. The phone lines are now open. We're asking you, how do you feel about things? And you've got to have some questions. Maybe, what can I change in my 401k? Just tell us what you're holding. We'll get a few details from you and give you an idea of a strategy. This is The Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you find us. Podcasting now. You can find us on YouTube. Follow us. Communicate. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Make this year that you work smarter, not harder, with Ataraxis. As your strategic partner, Ataraxis becomes an extension of your business, taking the burden of HR, payroll, benefits, workers' compensation, compliance, and staffing off your plate. You'll have more time to focus on operating and growing your business. Let Ataraxis handle the details so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at ataraxis.com. That's ATARAXIS.com.
As we age, managing our finances can become increasingly complex with ever-changing tax laws, estate planning, insurance needs, and investment environments. At Apollon Wealth Management, their goal is simple: to help enrich your life with personalized, expert financial advice. With a nationwide network of advisors, they're committed to delivering the best solutions for your financial future. It's time to take control and get the guidance you deserve. Connect with an advisor today by visiting The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Looking to make your dream of home ownership a reality? Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. Academy strives to offer the best rates and terms tailored to your financial situation. At Academy Mortgage, you'll be treated like family, not just another file. Navigating today's ever-changing housing market can be challenging, but their team is here to help. Experience the zero-down options, including loans with no mortgage insurance. They also provide specialized medical professional loans and unique 2-to-1 rate buydowns that reduce your monthly payment for the first initial years of your loan. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Begin your home ownership journey today by visiting them online at academymortgage.com. That's academymortgage.com.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
And now, back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is the Real Money Pros live program. We're here for you. Lots of financial shows on the weekends. Only this one I'm aware of is actually live and available for your calls, questions, guidance. We'll give it to you. We're fiduciaries only. Jeremiah Bates. I'm Brian Wiley. Learn more about us and the firms we work with. Go to therealmoneypros.com. Call the program, 979-59-MONEY. I'm asking a very simple question, which is, how do you feel about things? We even had an email come up over the break that Jeremiah is going to read here in just a second, which explains how this gentleman feels, or person feels, about things. How do you feel about things? 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. This is a very typical thing that I've noticed in 25 years of being a financial advisor, is that people do not ask questions when the markets are high. That is exactly when you should, in fact, be trying to ask as many questions as you can. What's my plan? Am I taking the right amount of risk? What should I be protecting? Should I be changing things? Like, you're going to ask the question after the market falls, We're going to talk about 2007 and 2009 and then compare that to 2025 and what could be after this email question.
So we have Thomas, who is listening to us out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, has the question. Well, it's a statement and a question. I have an E-Trade account, not making money that I have invested of $300,000. I am down $100,000 this year.
That's all
Help,
a statement.
Help! Exclamation mark.
That's a bold statement. Help is the question. Man, so
obviously we're limited with information.
That's extremely limited. So so what he's asking, one is he's obviously done something wrong. Yeah. And we're going to have questions, which is, who's done this work? Was this work that you've done? How did you choose it? What was the objective? Meaning, we're not here to make anybody feel dumb. What we're trying to do is to help you start to think through this. Now, if you were to make a trade, let's say on Monday, any person, whatever it is that you're going to buy, you're going to buy something because you're trying to make money. I don't care if it's an antique car or if it's a stock, but you have an idea of what you're trying to get out of it over the long run. Like you buy bare land thinking, well, it's going to become something someday. We'd like to just sit on it. Now, if it triples in value the next year, do you sell it or do you continue on? And that's the question. Because if you went back to, let's say, your journal, the day that you said that you're going to try to buy this thing, let's say it's a stock. I really like this stock right now at $10. And man, I think it's going to be a $20 stock in the next 10 years. And let's imagine it hits $20 in the next year. What do you do with it? Most people will have some sense of either fear or greed that will absolutely set in as soon as it starts passing either their price target or even close to it with momentum. And that is actually really destructive. But if you think about it, there could be something very constructive about actually having these questions, which is, yeah, maybe I should trim off these gains. Now, I've always been under the, I guess, impression and the direction, and this is the direction I apply to my clients, which is once you hit your price target, make a habit of selling it, even if you think it's going to go further. You could sell it, then buy back in or do it in theory, but make sure that you're separating that time and treating it as a new investment once you've hit your price targets. Just because you've had good gains in it doesn't mean they're going to stay. And this is one where I'm going to guess there was fear going into this year, and this person had invested in things that would have probably done okay had things not worked out for the Trump administration or as far as how it looks economically this year, or at least in the markets. That's my guess. Do you have any ideas?
Well, I'd really be curious to know what the approach was, because if you're talking about, and this really comes down to this concept of...
He lost 33%.
Yeah, 33%.
In a year where blindly it would have been very easy to come up with a 10% gain.
Yes.
Right, sitting in the allocation that he probably should have been in for longer than just this. Sorry.
Yes, if you're talking about a 33% drop, what was the strategy? Meaning, what were you investing in? What was the thought process going into? I know I'm kind of sounding a little bit redundant here, but let's just imagine, I'm trying to just think in a scenario where, let's imagine I'm sitting in front of Thomas in a meeting, and he comes to me and says, hey, I got this E-Trade account. I had $300,000. I've lost $100,000 this year. He's probably comparing, which most people are. Let's face it. If you are going to be a self-investor and you think you got the secret sauce, or there's some penny stock or some AI stock that you think is just going to absolutely crush it, you invest it, and you just continue to see a loss. You see a 5% drop, 10% drop, and you're like, I might come back.
It's demoralizing.
You see 20%. Now you see over a 30% drop, and now it's like, where's the ripcord here? Where's the backup parachute? Like, this is not good. And comparatively speaking to just an passive index investment where you would be up close to, maybe 15% if you have some exposure to international and U.S. just in a well-diversified allocation. I know it's a jargony term, but just think you got some exposure to U.S., international. It's not all your eggs in one basket. I would assume, in my experience, there's probably he's probably overweight in some specific stocks, individual stocks, which, okay, then if that was your intention going into it, that's fine, but you also have to understand the dynamics of that. You are up against much higher volatility when you have a majority of your account allocated to 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 individual stocks. It's what's known as idiosyncratic risk, where you can have the bigger market, so to speak, for the U.S. just growing, and And then you have these individual companies that are going down, 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 down. And it's like, oh, what's happening? It's like, well, how is that individual company managing its money or managing its profits? And how are they navigating it? And it's like, well, we've seen some good U.S. companies that have done well over the long run, but they're getting absolutely hammered this year. So I would look at Thomas and say, okay, let's just take a look at what we got right here. If it's an E-Trade account, non-qualified, let's see how we can do some rebalancing, maybe take a negative into a positive, get some tax loss harvesting in our back pocket, rebalance based on the objective. Because if Thomas was to tell me no, this is long-term money, I'm really just trying to maximize this gain for my future self. Okay, let's recalibrate. Clearly, your approach is not working when we've had an incredible bull run over the last few years, and you're down 30%. And this is where we get in line with. There's the DIY approach. We talked about this last week where, Brian, you're building your house. I talked about my plumbing story where you can do the DIY, or you can sit down and look with someone who has the experience. They have context to help guide you to a proper investment decision. But even if you walked away, it's like, no, I really like these stocks. I don't want to get rid of them. At least you can talk about how the emotions lean into the strategy. And at least, let's imagine if he's showing big losses on paper and he's really got this darling stock that he loves. Listen, we can still be strategic from a tax standpoint, lock in some losses that we can use to offset future gains or maybe offset some income. So that's going to help your bottom line as far as the net for this year. And then if you really like that stock, great, let's find an alternative that you can buy and hold for 30 days. And then we can pivot and repurchase that stock. Again, if we feel that it's got some legs over the long run, it's just getting beat up in the short term. But, yeah, that's a rough one. I mean, you're talking about over a 33% drop this year. And I've ran into this with many, especially younger investors, where they struck gold just because right place, right time. And, hey, listen, I would rather be lucky than skilled any day of the week, to be clear. But they try to replicate that success, and it's like – they come in hat in hand and like, listen, I'm done. They're holding up the white flag. Like, I did good 1 year. These past 5 years, I've been getting crushed while the market's up significantly. Can you please help? And it's like, great, yeah. Let's. It's like, it's not like you were wrong. You're just your approach just may have been a little bit skewed. So let's give you education. Let's give you guidance to make sure that your investments are aligned up with what you actually want to happen.
Like the worst cliffhanger ever, because I got to know now what Tom is invested in. So Tom, if you're listening right now, please pick up the phone and call us. 979-59-MONEY. We just want to hear, what is it that actually lost that value? I'm going to guess retail stocks, some materials in there. But what's been the disaster? We'll be right back.
Being a fiduciary means putting clients' needs first. This commitment to acting in the client's best interest is equally important when it comes to finding the right insurance. At Advisor Insurance Solutions, they believe in taking a comprehensive approach to your financial well-being. They craft personalized, purpose-driven strategies that align with your overall wealth management goals. Whether you're looking for life, disability, or long-term care insurance, visit us at therealmoneypros.com. I'm Nick Daniels with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. My team and I help our clients implement tax-smart strategies because taxes are one of the largest headwinds your investments face. We use strategies like Roth conversions, 1031 exchanges, and more because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 5/28. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something, and imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not somebody else's, and the day that you can leave your broker because you know how to do things on your own. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes or complicated financial issues from your past. We help you organize all your financial pieces into something manageable. We're a fiduciary-only firm, and we design simple strategies. And we teach you how it all works without clutter, confusion, or high cost. We can either do your investments for you or we can teach you how to do them on your own. In the end, we empower you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. Welcome to Tree City Advisors. This is the way we think if financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors, we provide flat fee planning and training. We also offer full service asset management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Tree City Advisors is an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to The Real Money Pros.
We are back. This is The Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. That's how you find us, or call us at 979-59-MONEY. We do have that listener question that we're reading, and we're making guesses over the break. He and I, Jeremiah and I, just about have a bet going about what was probably being invested in. And just a common scenario for this year would have been somebody that had gone through April, suffered the great losses inside their account, then got spooked, and then sold off what had just made big losses, and then bought something thinking they were buying a more conservative investment that would lose less while maybe a gain. So they basically lock in their losses and have had no recovery. And that's really the only thing I could think of, unless it was just a single bad idea that did it.
I mean, I agree. Unless it was some highly speculative investment and we're talking about some vague companies trying to get some outsized returns. So then you're looking for high reward and taking on big risk. But I think the most likely scenario is that hit that turbulence in the market. We saw those big drops, sold, and then just reallocated either into cash or a underperforming investment, and you're showing those losses. But the world is not lost. You can recalibrate and get back on the right trajectory. But again, it all comes down to when do you need the money, what's the purpose of it, and then you can get this thing fixed up right away.
That message was out of Albuquerque. Thanks for listening to the program. It's the Real Money Pros. And calling out of Idaho, Boise, out of our flagship station, News Talk KBOI, we've got Jamie calling out of Boise. Hi, Jamie.
Hi. Hey, good afternoon, y'all. So I just got a new job a couple months back, and it comes with a 401k as one of the benefits. And I'm very, very new to investing, so I was kind of wondering what investments would be recommended. And then also there's an option for it to be a regular or a Roth.
Oh, fun. How old are you, Jamie?
I am 35.
And do you have kids, married?
Nope.
Nope. And nope. Do you have other types of retirement saved up already?
I have a Roth IRA.
Great. Okay, good. And what kind of income are you going to make when you're with this new employer?
I would say probably, I want to say about $65K a year. Okay. Not a ton, but.
So filing single, you know that your marginal income tax bracket is a fairly low one, which is a great one. So our feel on this one is we do know that taxes always go up over time, and you'll probably make a lot more money when you're in the 50s and 60s. So you'll be in a higher marginal bracket. So the idea here now is to just pay the taxes now. So use the Roth version inside the 401k, and then you're going to invest it for growth, and pretty well growth only, as long as you've got the reserves for your personal finance life and your bank account, things like that put it in the 401k. Jeremiah, you probably got a lot to add.
Yeah, I mean, based on that information, Jamie, number one, great. And the fact that one of the first things you're thinking of is how to take advantage of this employer benefit. And the 401k is great. I mean, every time you get paid, you have a deferral, meaning money goes directly into the 401k, which is great. You don't have to worry about moving the money yourself. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And to Brian's point, with the Roth money, that money will continue to grow. When do you foresee yourself retiring? Like 60, 65?
I would love to at some point. So not really a huge guess on that just yet. Someday would be great.
Roger that. But clearly what we're looking at is this is long-term money, meaning most likely you're not going to even consider touching this money within a 10-year period, which makes this incredibly easy.
Let's face it. She's got 30 years until Medicare age of 67. Sorry to break it to you.
Yep.
But that 32 years right now just means that anything that you buy right now, you're holding on to it for the long term. So 32 years to wait out risk, to tolerate different administration changes. Meanwhile, this is a great time for you to also start making your plans for what it means when you're 67 and things like that. And making sure that you've got the right amount of insurances for your life, as maybe you're going to get married someday or any of that stuff.
No, and Jamie, I would say kind of the calculus when we're looking at the 401k on the island is, yes, I would agree. Roth IRA at this point is great. Taxes are out of the way. Money grows. So when you're in retirement, if you got $1 million in that 401k, you truly got $1 million. Because when you pull the money out, it's not going to be taxable to you. So I agree with that. When it comes to the investment, meaning make sure your 401k is properly allocated. Bonds, given the length of time that you're going to have before you use that money, have it be growth, U.S., international, mid cap, small cap, well diversified. If you have specific questions on that, we are happy to help. Just go to our website, use the contact us or ask the experts, and we can help you get set up in that regard. And then what I would also look at is how much you're contributing. Does your employer offer a match? Meaning, if you put money into the 401k, do they do a contribution as well?
Yes, they do a match.
Oh, that's perfect. So at minimum, make sure you're contributing enough to receive that full match. And if you feel like if you can contribute more, meaning when you have your take-home pay and it's like, hey, I actually have a little bit left over, then you can turn on a higher contribution. You can always dial it back if you need to, if you feel like there's a season in life where you need more cash coming through from your job. So it's easy to adjust, but at minimum, take advantage of that employer match, contribute enough so you can get that free money from your employer. But all in all, it's great.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Certainly appreciate that. Hopefully we answered your questions. If you've got any more, then please find us at therealmoneypros.com. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line. That's 979-596-6639. Now, getting started is actually one of the most important things. People say, well, what's the most important part about me saving the right amount for retirement? Well, saving. Actually, just saving. Even if you just deposited the money into the 401k and picked up the match, you're better off than not have done anything, even if it earned nothing during the time that it was in there. So let's go back to that prior message about being down 33% this year. This is very typical. And if you've not gotten to the point where it's going to destroy your future plans, and this is an opportunity for you to look at, okay, this is what drove my decisions, to try to not repeat it. So when I say that I do a lot of DIY stuff, Jeremiah, let's put this in real perspective. One is I do a lot of stuff more like DI assisted, meaning I'm doing the work, awesome, but I get some sort of advisement or assistance. And like I'm building cabinets right now, and I have been pinging the cabinet store where I've been buying a lot of the wood and drawer slides and all that stuff. I've been asking the people down there, which these guys are all former cabinet makers, and I'm asking them a lot of stuff, but I'm still going back to do the work. There are areas where I know I don't want to do the work. Like I don't like doing the painting, so all the front faces on drawers and things like that, I want to have them painted. I mean, I'm willing to pick and choose the jobs I can handle. And Jane, when you go through this and you're just getting, Jamie, when you're getting started, I think it's a great thing to just start to get a general understanding, a direction. You don't need to go through the full process right now. You're not married. You don't have kids. Your liabilities are probably fairly low. Your life is simple, so let's just plan on it that way. Now, the other gentleman, we don't know how important that money is to you. But some people would say, when the market falls apart like it did, I've seen it. The sky is falling, and I've spent my entire career in this. If you think about this, since the year 1999, How many market downturns, significant ones, have I seen in my career, plus extended ones like the Great Recession? You had the S&P 500 hit roughly 1550. I'll just give you round numbers. And that was in 2007. In 2009, it had fallen all the way down to the low part of 700s. I don't think it dipped. It might have dipped into below 700. But I remember broadcasting at the same time, people calling, say, what do we do? What do we do? And it's like, well, if this is long-term money, this is when I realized how important that the behavior approach to time-based investing was paramount for the success of almost every investor out there. It became very relevant and very clear to me that this was the answer for most people. And what this is we're talking about designating investments for a period of time based on a set of assumptions and analysis and everything at the beginning, but it's not set it and forget it, but it is never changing the purpose or timeline of the money. And if that's the case, you do not manipulate long-term growth money because of market downturns. And you could certainly adjust some holdings in there based on maybe bad financial news about a company or a better opportunity elsewhere. That's fine. But you don't do it wholesale like that because the market's falling.
You got to understand the behavioral dynamic side of this, because human psychology, and there's studies that show this, when you see significant losses on your investment account or statement, it literally triggers a fight or flight response in your brain, meaning like you're feeling that you need to run or you need to fight this. So the behavioral side of this is almost just as important as understanding like the technical, or I would say even probably more important than understanding the technical side. And the market volatility and drops in the market are not a bug. It's not a bad thing in the market. It's how you make money. That is fundamental. As soon as you understand that concept of risk reward, that when you invest in anything, a business, you invest in yourself, I don't care what it is, you're taking on some level of risk. Now, if we look at the markets, luckily we have history. We have a long sample size of market behavior. And we know that if there's some level of risk, how do you mitigate it? And it's time. It's that simple. It is time. As long as you can give it enough time, then you will have a successful outcome. And for Jamie, the beauty of this is those market drops. Like, let's imagine she had a 401k when Liberation Day hit in April, and people that were actually dumping money into that you look back on that 10, 20 years, and those are the ones that really give you the tailwind for the growth of your money. So it's a good thing to happen. It's how you make money in the market.
Risk and reward, but how do you feel about things? Because it's still about behavior and emotions and fear and greed. 979-59-MONEY. How do you feel about the economy moving forward? The markets, would you buy right now or are you selling? We'll take a break. Stay with us. Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs, from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deirdre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then used tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively, our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
And we're back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. Did you know we have a chat feature on our website, therealmoneypros.com? If you click on that during the program right now, we'll see it. We'll see your questions. We can ask you questions back. And, of course, if you let us, we'll read those over the air. But you don't have to let us. You just say you don't want it read over the air. We certainly won't. And we won't say your name either. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line for those who are brave enough to call us, although it's not that bad, I promise you. I don't like calling radio programs either. Honestly, I've been broadcasting for 25 years. I'll still call a buddy's program every once in a while, and I get all wound up and nervous before I do it and sweaty the whole bit.
Well, it's like you have it in your mind of, how do you want the question to come out? And inevitably it comes out like word salad. You're like, oh, well, I'm never calling again.
It's funny because people have told me from the beginning and said, just act like it's just a conversation with somebody else on the other side, which, okay, I mean, it makes sense because all I see is a microphone, right? But I had to put a picture in my mind of who I was talking to, and then it started to work for me. And I actually have an image, and it's funny, I can tell you the kind of truck this person is driving and their whole life, everything. This person, I built up this person in my head because that is who I'm talking to. And it sounds like it's like kind of mainstream America. I'm thinking about this working parent that is driving home from work or driving home from some parenting responsibility that has been delaying or pushing the delay button on addressing things that they know, and it's been nagging at them like, oh, have I got my will done and my trust, or do I have the right life insurances? I don't understand my 401k, or are we using the right health insurance plans? This stuff is overwhelming. And then you throw in some IRS CPA stuff in there and a financial advisor taking fees from you and predatory insurance people. And I see why you're not doing it. But I'm speaking to you on the air right now. But really, this is a conversation to you because there's been moments in my life where I've heard things, something with, something in the back of my mind and nagging at me. And then suddenly it gets said or something like that. And it's like, okay, now I'm on notice. Like, now I'm a fool. If I don't do this now, the fool part comes in. And I don't want to say that you're a fool if you don't immediately act because you just heard Brian Wiley say to act. No, it's a drip. It's a drop in the bucket. And it's the reason why I've done radio and really what I've thought. I have not thought of just about that one person driving that Ford truck because they're on the way on a Saturday to take the kids to soccer and to cheerleading practice, which is the image in my head. But now there's a couple thousand of them. Now convert them to buckets. I don't know if these buckets are full and they're going to be motivated and do something, or if it's the first drop. But either way, speaking every weekend as a fiduciary with a very similar message, which is understand your behavior is probably the part that's messing you up. It's probably fear. It's probably greed. The fear is probably driven from things you don't know. You've built up things. Oh, the market's rigged. Or I can't do this, whatever it might be. That's the fear. We get rid of that. Then you get capabilities. Sometimes greed starts to step in. And it's really about managing those things. I don't follow a punch list as well as I think I wished I could say I did. I will deviate from it. I need to be brought back to the punch list every once in a while. Somebody needs to straighten me back up because I will go on tangents. I just will do it. So phone lines are open, 979-59-MONEY. We're going to end up doing another hour here on the program as well. And if you don't pick that up live on your radio station, then find us podcasting. Go to therealmoneypros.com and, again, communicate with us. I want to talk about the S&P 500 and just simple numbers and allow those of you that have withstood that investment drama that happened 18 years ago. That is wild to me. 18 years ago. In 2007, we had the market hit an all-time high. It was roughly 1550, somewhere in there. Lehman Brothers, everything starts falling apart. I remember this time I was broadcasting. I was also working with clients, and I was watching their values and their accounts go down very quickly, especially the growth accounts that we had because they were designed to act like the markets did. And the S&P 500 went down to half, just roughly 700. But where does it sit today? 6,664 as of yesterday's close. So even if you would have bought the market at the very highs in, I believe that was in February of 2007, if you'd have bought it then at 1,500, you'd still see gains in excess of 400% if you'd have just had a very diversified or not diversified. You just had, let's say, SPY, the ETF, and you just bought and held that till now. 400% gain.
And that's not including dividends.
If I were to ask you right now in 2025 that if in 2043 you would have a 400% gain from what you have right now. So this goes back to that email where he had 300,000, he went down to 200,000, and I've said, okay, yeah, but you're now going to have 800,000 in excess of that, probably closer to $1 million. In 18 years, would you be okay with that return? I'm going to guess that most prudent investors that have been, even slightly exposed to real life would say, yeah, that's excellent. Okay, that's what was actually experienced from the highs to the highs. So the highs of 2007 to 2025 where we sit now. If you bought at the lows of the market, yeah, great. Who did buy at the lows of the market? Every single person that kept their 401k contributions going. You bought at the lows of the market. Well done. The rest of you, I was taking phone calls to people telling me that they stopped making contributions to the 401k. And I started to learn real quick about what my message needed to be every night on the show, which is do not stop. This is the whole point of dollar cost averaging. Like you're literally going to have purchases at the bottom and you have purchases at the top. But the point is that you're going to dollar cost average yourself into a better price than if you were just to select a time, most likely. How do you feel about the markets? How do you feel about things? Are you looking at your 401k right now going, man, this thing looks good. It looks really good. Okay. Don't be the person 1 year from now, 12 months, when the market, let's say, could fall. Let's say it's down 20%. So you got 20% less inside your accounts, and then you're going to call the program and say, what should I do? Just like the email. I would prefer the call while it's high to figure out where you are and what needs to be preserved or changed, if anything.
100%. Think of this in actual reality. Think about this. Let's imagine you're a couple years out from retirement and you're sitting on all-time highs. You're properly invested. Let's rewind the clock back to April. If you were freaking out, losing sleep, thinking that your retirement picture is not intact, ooh, I tell you, you've been given a gift. You've been given a gift with the market quickly rebounding, hitting all-time highs, assuming you didn't make a move. Now is the time to plan. And that plan could involve a lot of different things, or it could not, meaning it could just be a recalibration to say, yeah, no, I got further. My timeline is far out, meaning even if the market's at all-time highs, I'm still not going to touch this money for another 10 years. So, Brian, to your point, do we feel confident that the U.S., a good, well-diversified portfolio, is likely to be higher in 10 years? Yeah, the odds are very in your favor. Now, if your timeline is dropping, like let's imagine you actually need to start pulling money out of these investment accounts to fund quality of life, pay your bills, pay for health insurance, cover the vacations, cover the new car, the roof replacement, all that because you're cutting the corporate cord or you're selling the business or whatever it is. Wouldn't it be nice to have that peace of mind where you have a strategy where it covers you in all regards? Meaning if the market continues to go high and continue to increase in value, perfect. You're going to take part in that. Or if we see a collapse, a bear market, and we see a drop of 25%, 30%, your retirement picture is still intact, meaning you want to have your money serve you in a way where it's peace and you know that these financial objectives are going to be met without just completely going 100% conservative, right? So again, the emotional component is huge. The strategy component is huge. These things all need to be taken in consideration. But again, let's go back to Jamie's call. When you look at where she's at, the active deferrals and the approach to saving for a long term, that's what's going to be in her benefit. And then what's going to add the juice on that is, you're investing in a growth asset that should perform over time. The numbers are there. If you go back 18 years to September 2007, this black swan event, by 2025, you're going to be up nearly 4x without dividends. And then you factor in the dividends that these companies pay, just cash that's going in, and assuming you reinvested them, you're looking at close to a 6x return. This is not some secret sauce, some secret investment strategy. This is just proper, prudent approach and letting your money work for you in the long term. Doesn't need to be confusing. However, if you're seeing a 30% drop on your investments so far this year, highly recommend you recalibrate and get an idea what your strategy is.
We're going to be back for another hour. 979-59-MONEY. Phone line's still open even through the break. Find us online at therealmoneypros.com. Use the chat.
The Real Money Pros is hosted by Brian Wiley and other team members of Tree City Advisors of Apollon. Tree City Advisors of Apollon is a DBA of Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC registered investment advisor and affiliate of the Real Money Pros. The Real Money Pros and Tree City of Apollon are not affiliated with any of the companies or non-advisor professionals participating on this program. Ataraxis PEO and Apollon Wealth Management are financial sponsors of the Real Money Pros. Additionally, Apollon receives advisory fees for these sponsors and or their representatives for investment advice. Log into therealmoneypros.com to contact the host for advice, show archives, educational material, and more. This program is brought to you by the quality sponsors heard within this broadcast.
Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. Ataraxis partners with businesses of all sizes and industries. Their mission? To reduce the stress and risk that comes with business owners trying to do it themselves. Visit ataraxispeo.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
Your emotions can drive many decisions, but when it comes to money, they shouldn't be in the driver's seat. I'm Alex at Tree City Advisors of Apollon. We get to know you and your goals to build a holistic, time-based investment strategy. Investing isn't rocket science, but having the right partner helps you stay the course. Learn more about us at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something. Imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not your investment professionals. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes and complicated financial issues from your past, empowering you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. We design simple, effective investment strategies, and we teach you how it can all work without clutter, confusion, or high costs. Welcome to Tree City Advisors of Apollon. This is the way we think of financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors of Apollon, we provide flat-fee financial planning and training. We also offer full-service asset-based investment management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. Visit treecityadvisors.com. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
To offer valuable advice and earn clients' trust as an advisor, it's essential to always put their interests ahead of personal gain or the preferences of any particular company. Advisor Insurance Solutions is dedicated to delivering insurance solutions from an advisory perspective. They provide objective and unbiased insurance planning, making it an integral part of their comprehensive advisory process. If you're looking for insurance guidance that aligns with your financial goals, visit therealmoneypros.com. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Are you in the market to buy a house or just looking to refinance your current mortgage? For helping individuals and families achieve affordable homeownership, Academy Mortgage is a first choice. And when finding that perfect loan for the perfect home, you need a company that will treat you like family, not just another file. To help you navigate through today's ever-changing housing market, Academy Mortgage has zero down options available to you. That includes zero down with no mortgage insurance. We also offer medical professional loans and 2-1 rate buydowns that help lower your monthly payment for the first several years of your loan. Origination, processing, underwriting, and closing and funding will all happen in-house. With over 34 years in the business, we know that buying a home is more than just a house. That's why it's important we protect our customers and safeguard their financial wellness for years to come. Visit us online at academymortgage.com today to start your journey to homeownership with Academy Mortgage. That's academymortgage.com. Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Running out of gift ideas for your loved one? Send flowers with Flower Fix. And need to create joy in your living or workspace? With many working from home these days, create joy in your space with flowers. Flower Fix is a subscription-based flower delivery service perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, or any special occasion. We offer 2 subscription options to choose from, a text-based subscription or a traditional one. Enjoy these big, beautiful hand-designed bouquets that are delivered straight from our flower fields to your door. Log on now, www.flowerfix.com, to choose your flowers today. Have control over when you want flowers delivered. Weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Get your flower fix at flowerfix.com. Use code FlowerFixPro to receive 20% off your first order. flowerfix.com.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Gallegos with Price for Life. Do you have a life insurance policy that you'd like to sell? If you don't need the coverage anymore or would rather not keep making the premium payments, visit our website, priceforlife.com. Don't let your policy lapse when you can potentially get a cash payment for it. There are several reasons why a life settlement might be a great value to you. Perhaps your policy is too expensive, or you feel you no longer need the death benefit, or you may think you need to wait until death before your family can get the money from the insurance company. This is why you may want to consider a life settlement. Price for Life has excellent resources available along with a free evaluation process to help you understand the value of your policy and the options available to you. Price for Life's clients have received hundreds of thousands of dollars for their policy when they would have otherwise just let it lapse by stopping the premium payments. Get the compensation you deserve. Visit priceforlife.com today and fill out the case evaluation form to see if your policy qualifies. That's price, the number 4, life.com. Priceforlife.com.
Healthcare expenses can be a burden, so why not make the most out of the money that we'd spend anyway? Take advantage of the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, a health savings account, also known as an HSA. That's why you need Lively. Visit Lively right away. Open your HSA, roll other HSA money into that new plan, and then start saving. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO.
Real Money Pros is brought to you by The Real Money Pros and the sponsors heard within this broadcast. Material presented on this program may not be suitable for you. Consult a registered investment advisor when evaluating any particular investment, security, or investment strategy. The views, opinions, or advice offered by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect those of this station. Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates are investment advisor representatives with Apollon Wealth Management, an SEC registered investment advisor. The Real Money Pros with Brian Wiley and Jeremiah Bates, the weekend's smartest money show. Investing, taxes, legal topics, insurance, and every other confusing money topic made simple.
Well, happy Saturday to you. If we didn't catch you in the first hour, you got us in the second hour, and we're just saying hello. Jeremiah Bates is here, and Brian Wiley. We are financial advisors, not just any, we're only fiduciaries. That's it. We always work in the best interest of our clients and our listeners. So if you have a financial question, this program is live on a Saturday, 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639, or join us online. You can find us on YouTube. We actually broadcast the program on video as well. And, of course, we have our online presence where you can go in there and use the chat feature whenever you'd like. Ask questions, anything financial. We'll take comments on the markets, the economy. We spent the last hour talking about that, plus mixed in a couple listener questions and really just relating that to real market conditions and real decisions that need to be made. What can we help you with? That's the question. So call us and ask the questions.
And we're going to go right to the phone lines. We're going to go to Mike calling out of Pennsylvania. Mike, what can we do for you?
Hey, guys. Hey, I am old enough to remember and very vividly the dot-com bubble bursting. Like this, and this is before the world of ETFs, I believe. So I held companies like WorldCom,
QQQQ. Do you remember that symbol back then? And SPY. Those ones existed, but you're right. Yeah, people held their stocks directly. WorldCom.
Yes, and I have QQQ right now doing excellent.
Yep. I remember the commercials, the Qs. Yep.
And it's doing great, and it's because of, for the most part, I think, the belief that what's coming down the pike in AI and quantum computing is going to be really, really big. So here's my question: is comparing .com, so the .com bubble to this, what could be a bubble right now. What are your thoughts? Because I'm getting the feeling, I did research back then, I've been doing my research now. I'm getting the feeling that this is kind of, even though the market might be, I think, is a little frothy right now, I think this may be real. What do you think?
You think it's real as far as the AI technology hanging in there and continuing to go up over time?
Yeah.
Yes, 100% agree. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we would ask the same question in 1998, I'm going to guess. With the market high flying right now, Brian, do you think the internet's really going to stay? It's the same question, right? Okay. Well, I do think that AI is here to stay. Where I think the biggest risk is that people are going to lose jobs because AI is going to replace people. We've already seen this, programmers, so on. But the investor side of it will look at, this is going to make companies that are probably publicly traded more profitable over time, so you invest in those. Now, could there be a bubble with AI-specific or involved companies? And I would say I'm pretty sure that we will see a bubble. We're going to see some of them kind of pop out of the bubble, but we're going to see some emerge. And I would just make that equivalent to what you saw back when the bomb happened, which was – out of a handful of companies, or let's say hundreds of companies, you had a handful that are still here today that had you invested in those, you'd have been fine losing on those other couple hundred. That's the NASDAQ as an example right there. What do you think, John? Am I on the same track as you? Mike? I'm sorry, Mike?
Well, I have, just looking at things over the last year, Did the QQQ exist back then? I don't remember.
I think it did.
Didn't it?
I think it did, just because I remember the commercials. I was watching CNBC every single day, so remember the commercials. Let's see here. I'm going back to it.
I think it was 1999.
In March of 1999 they created it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot like for your newer investors with ETFs now. I don't think I even knew what it was at the time. I think it's a bit easier from them.
Same. I was new in my career, and we didn't understand them either.
Yeah.
Yep. We understood mutual funds at the time. We didn't understand why we want to replace it, except because it took away our commissions. And it was an interesting time in our industry because we're leaving the brokerage type of emphasis and going more toward advisory, which is really important, I think, for investors to know this too, because working as a fiduciary is much, much different than working under what are known as suitability rules, which end up in a commission. So it's always just conflicted advice. Anything else we can do for you, Mike? I think great comments there on the AI stuff. Yes, I think there will be a bubble. Yes, I actually think it's sticking around. And I think any investor would be foolish to ignore it in the same way that you'd be foolish to have ignored all tech companies during the .com era.
One more follow-up question, just an opinion question. Do you think we're in a bubble now?
Technology, I would say that it's highly likely. And I'm saying that simply because the amount of investment that has been made by these companies without any proven results just yet. You got in companies like NVIDIA posting, bids that they're going to put a $500 billion for something that the market itself is still developing. We really don't know the applications of AI beyond robotics and high-level calculations and then really bad phone call telesupport. But beyond that, and then just kind of joking around on ChatGPT. But if you've listened long enough, my feel on this one is I say things will become very important when the entertainment value of them is overtaken by its utility, meaning they have to have functional utility. Like computers didn't have that utility in the 80s, but they had it in the 90s. And they had it in 2000. So then they're here to stay. They weren't just it for entertainment. Robotics will be there for utility. Actually, it is. It's already there. It's going to be there for utility for consumers in the next 2 years. I believe that in 2 years I could probably buy a robot that could help me put a full sheet of plywood through my table saw. I really believe that will occur.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware that Tesla was a robot company.
Biggest AI company in the industry.
Yeah, no, but Elon Musk. He made it clear that the humanoid robotic industry is projected to be over $1 trillion market, and they're doubling down on that. And obviously, I was around, but I wasn't gainfully employed during the .com bubble. But there are some similarities you could look at. Are we looking at irrational exuberance? Are we looking at hype? I think there's certainly hype that's behind this AI run, and I agree with Brian 100%. It's at some point we're going to arrive at all this investment in research and development, the billions of dollars that are committed by Microsoft, Meta, this race to get to this super intelligence. Mark Zuckerberg just made a comment this week about that. Like they are gas pedal down to arrive at the highest level of AI that they can get. They want to be the first, and Elon Musk is in the same boat. At what point do investors see that utility? Like, where is the payoff? Like, where is the net result of all of this money being poured into that? And I think that's where it's still a little vague, unless you look at just significant disruption of jobs where it makes these companies more efficient, where they don't need to pay a large workforce. But then you're looking at bigger economic implications that could put investment dollars and this exuberance in the backseat to an extent. But I don't think we're seeing the IPO frenzy, meaning the initial public offering frenzy that we saw in the .com bubble. There was companies that were just doing an initial IPO, had no track record, no profits, no earnings, and they were trading at like 40x on paper of what they were actually producing. I don't think we're seeing to that level. So, I think, it's like, are we in a bubble? It's almost comparing like, are we going to see a recession? It's like not all recessions are cut the same. There's a metric that says if we're in a recession or not. And sometimes we have deep, long recessions, and sometimes they're short and shallow. So when we talk about, are we in a bubble? And my question is, how big of the bubble, and when it pops, does that wave wipe out a lot of companies? And it's like, who's left? I don't see where we're to that level yet. But no, there's certainly arguments that we are in some form of a bubble, because just when you look at all of the money, and even Sam Altman, he even said that we are in some semblance of an AI bubble.
What do you think of that, Mike?
Yeah. No, I think to a point we are, but I mean, we're also in a housing bubble, a gold bubble. Everything seems to be frothy. But I think the one thing that the general public is missing is that AI is going to do a lot. It's going to affect the job market.
It is going to affect the job market. Like, think of a company like Adobe Systems. And I don't know, I've not really looked into it, but how many programmers do you really think are involved with that company? How many analysts, people that are easily replaceable because the majority of their work is done on the computer, which is now something that is a full target of a good AI agent to be able to take over. All of that. So that would make a company like that extremely profitable, even if they sold less software, because their costs going out would be much less. And the accuracy, I guess, goes up the whole bit. But yeah, it's going to change some things, Mike. And yeah, I kind of would really use the past as a way to learn on how you would want to best handle this one. But I'd throw some big variables in there. 979-59-MONEY, 979-596-6639. Businesses today face a barrage of challenges. They hunt for top talent, the search for the right benefits package, and the ever-rising tide of healthcare rates. And putting together the right team to run your HR-related tasks can be expensive, let alone time-consuming. Enter Ataraxis PEO, your professional employer organization ready to tackle all your HR needs, from payroll to benefits administration, payroll services, workers' compensation, and talent recruiting. They've got you covered. With Ataraxis, you gain access to a team of experts who handle the nitty-gritty of HR, freeing you up to focus on what you do best, growing your business and growing your revenue. Ataraxis takes the time to learn about your business, crafting personalized solutions to help you and your team succeed. So say goodbye to the stress of HR administration and hello to Ataraxis. Experience the power of a true business partner with Ataraxis PEO. Visit ataraxispeo.com. That's ATARAXISPEO.com. Ataraxis, elevating businesses for the benefit of all.
Looking to make your dream of home ownership a reality? Look no further than Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender. Academy strives to offer the best rates and terms tailored to your financial situation. At Academy Mortgage, you'll be treated like family, not just another file. Navigating today's ever-changing housing market can be challenging, but their team is here to help. Experience the zero-down options, including loans with no mortgage insurance. They also provide specialized medical professional loans and unique 2-to-1 rate buydowns that reduce your monthly payment for the first initial years of your loan. And forget about dealing with brokers and middlemen. With Academy Mortgage, everything happens in-house, from origination to funding. Say goodbye to hassles and surprises. Begin your home ownership journey today by visiting them online at academymortgage.com. That's academymortgage.com.
Academy Mortgage Corporation, NMLS 3113, is an equal housing lender.
Academy Mortgage, your first choice home loan lender.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
And now, back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line. If you got comments, Mike, thanks so much for spending the time with us on the air. I like the perspective. It's also confirmation. I'd like to hear opposing views, too. If you have them, I'd like to hear that here on the program. Go to therealmoneypros.com or share them with us online there. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line, and that is open. We've got another caller on the line calling out of Ohio. John.
Calling
Hi, John.
out of Ohio. John, what can we do for you?
So just, I've got a 403B through work that I just kind of set up and forgot about and just let them do their own thing. And I'm looking into it now and kind of want to know how I should be balance of my investments, how I should start on that, what sort of research I should be doing.
Great question, John. John, how old are you?
30.
30. What's a rough idea of income that you're making from this employer?
About $40,000 a year.
40,000. Do they offer a match going into the 403B?
So yeah, I've got a match going into the 403B and a performance incentive plan that goes along with it. All told, I've got about 45,000 in there right now.
So you got a PIP, a performance incentive plan. No, that's great. Taking advantage of the company benefits that are offered to you. So again, I always look at first and foremost when you're starting with a company and you're getting involved with these benefit plans, understanding the dynamics of do they offer a match? How are they putting money in there? Making sure that your contributions are maximizing your net benefit. So make sure you're putting in enough to get the match, which it looks like you certainly are. So now we're getting into the almost next important question of how do we allocate these things? Because these are growth vehicles. You're John, you said you're 30 years old. I think you probably got a couple decades, if not more, until you're actually retired, which means that's when you're going to start using the money. So we got close to maybe 3 or more decades to let this money grow. So you got plenty of time. Keyword is you want to make sure these dollars are invested in a way that achieve long-term growth. In this 403B, do you have a fund lineup, like a lineup of options that you can choose from of mutual funds? Maybe it says, U.S. large cap, mid cap, international, or do they have target date funds where it gives you a year next to it?
Honestly, I am brand new to all of this. I'm just looking at this and I see a bunch of names and a bunch of price changes, and I'm just wondering where to start, what to start looking for, so I can make sure I'm getting what I need out of this. So
Perfect. It's great. A couple different approaches you could take. The first one that I recommend is reach out to us, schedule a time where we can run through this with you to make sure you understand what you're getting your money into. So then you have a good foundation of education of what these funds are, what they're supposed to do, and this kind of idea of rebalancing going along the way. Second option is the DIY approach, doing your own research. Each of one of those funds, there's going to be some type of fact sheet that's going to give you details of that specific investment. I'll say this, given that your money's long-term, you don't want to have exposure to cash and you don't want to have exposure to bonds. That's just going to weigh down your overall long-term performance. You want to be invested in growth. The U.S. large cap funds, some
Look for the index
cap,
funds.
small cap, the index, the cheapest funds that are available to you, all of that. Those are the important filtering mechanisms, in my opinion, that you want to use when you're arriving at what you actually invest those 403B dollars in.
Did you crack the pages of the choices open, John? Have you taken a look at that?
I've got a list of what I'm currently going into.
Okay.
And then
Do you have that list in front of you, by the way?
Took the words out of my mouth.
I do, yeah.
Oh, can you read them to us?
Just read off the fund names that you're currently in.
Looks like FID Extended Market Index, FID Total INTL Index.
International.
FID.
Okay. Yes, Fidelity funds. Yep. Anything else?
Yeah, Fidelity 500 Index.
Yep. These are all good. Okay, so you're bringing up a point so Fidelity actually will offer, like, let's say a market indexed fund like the S&P 500 fund, and they'll call it something Fidelity Index Fund, and that just means that it's going to only have holdings that are coordinating with the specific index, and they'll describe it in their prospectus the whole bit of how to do it. But what I like about it is there's no expensive person sitting there trying to do the choices, meaning they're trying to beat something, and they charge a lot more money for it, in excess usually of 1% per year, because you've got a managed fund versus just getting an index fund. And spread over time, you'll find that the index funds with the lower costs will be very close in competition to even some of the best managed funds out there, as long as we're talking about the same class of investments, things like that. So that's what Jeremiah and I were interested in, is were you going to read off any of these index type of investments? And for a young guy like you just getting started with new contributions, then yes, let's invest the money for long-term growth. Let's do it simple, and let's do it inexpensively. And that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, just from the Fidelity Extended Market Index Fund, I pulled it up, and it may not be exact crossover for what's available in your actual plan, but just quick cursory look at it, the net expense ratio, meaning the cost to be invested in this fund, is 0.035%. So it's negligible of the cost on that. And if you look at the 1-year performance on this, it's up almost 16%. So that certainly fits the growth and index criteria that we're talking about. So that's great.
Okay.
Good. Hey, thanks for the call.
All right. Yeah.
Anything else we can do for you?
No, I think I definitely do want to set up an appointment with somebody here in my area.
Yeah, please do.
And get in there and just take a look at it. But I appreciate the advice.
Wait, you're calling out of Idaho, right? Oh, you get to call our home office.
Ohio.
Oh, Ohio, Idaho, and with Iowa. They're all the same place, right? Well, they're not.
Right.
We can connect you to an advisor. We use the Apollon Wealth Network, but contact us through therealmoneypros.com. And if you want an example of what the fiduciary, advisory business looks like, then look at our website, which is treecityadvisors.com. And that's an example of us. I mean, that's us. And same thing with the other advisors that we refer to, especially if we're going to refer to you out in Ohio. We're looking, and we actually have advisors there in Ohio that look and walk and talk and work just like we do. Same methodology, the whole bit. Thanks for the call. Certainly appreciate it. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line. I'm so glad he asked those questions, because that's what I'm asking other people at the beginning of this hour to ask as well, which is, you got all-time market highs, your accounts are probably looking pretty good. Don't you think this is probably a good time to start asking questions, or do you prefer to do it after you've had losses in the account and you're stressed out, and then you're trying to look for answers on how to preserve something, you're panicky, or you've got some new financial event that just happened to you? What is it that you prefer? And it doesn't have to be with us. You could contact a different financial advisor, but now is a really good time, seemingly, to ask the questions. Let's go back to that other idea, which is, what if we're in an AI bubble, okay? And what if the AI bubble is more than just AI, but it's more going to be related to the entire economy, and it's going to affect all American companies? Don't you want to know if that is going to affect or hurt your ability to reach your financial goals at some point in your life? Meaning, some people are out there trying to get market-related returns because they're comparing it to the water cooler talk that they hear about what everybody else is getting, or they're seeing what the market's getting, and you're unsettled about the idea that you'd get less. But let's imagine your plan computed that you only needed, let's say, 6% on average to meet all of your financial goals in the future. Then why were you taking the additional risk? Greed or fear? At least let it be known. Phone lines are open, 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. It's just about understanding behavior, fear, greed, have a plan. You can work this out. It's the Real Money Pros.
As we age, managing our finances can become increasingly complex with ever-changing tax laws, estate planning, insurance needs, and investment environments. At Apollon Wealth Management, their goal is simple: to help enrich your life with personalized, expert financial advice. With a nationwide network of advisors, they're committed to delivering the best solutions for your financial future. It's time to take control and get the guidance you deserve. Connect with an advisor today by visiting The Real Money Pros. That's therealmoneypros.com.
Did you have a tax strategy going into this year to help maximize your tax savings? I'm Jeremiah Bates with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. We consider key factors like required minimum distributions, Social Security, net unrealized appreciation, 1031 exchanges, and more. Because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
If you have a small business, Staples has your sign.
Banners for my bakery?
Staples has your sign.
Oh, posters for my new pet store.
Floor decals for a pharmacy.
Every day, Staples associates help every kind of small business create bold signs to make big impressions. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. This is your sign, so print it big at Staples. Ends 5/28. Visit staplesconnect.com/thisisyoursign for details.
Imagine financial advice without a sales pitch to buy something, and imagine a long-term financial plan focused on your goals, not somebody else's, and the day that you can leave your broker because you know how to do things on your own. At Tree City Advisors, we do things a bit differently than our peers. First, we help you define your purpose for investing. We help you clean up messes or complicated financial issues from your past. We help you organize all your financial pieces into something manageable. We're a fiduciary-only firm, and we design simple strategies. And we teach you how it all works without clutter, confusion, or high cost. We can either do your investments for you or we can teach you how to do them on your own. In the end, we empower you with knowledge, lower fees, and confidence. Welcome to Tree City Advisors. This is the way we think if financial advisors should work for their clients. At Tree City Advisors, we provide flat fee planning and training. We also offer full service asset management, and we employ do-it-yourself technologies. There's never a fee for an initial meeting or review, so let's get started. Learn more at treecityadvisors.com. Tree City Advisors is an SEC registered investment advisor.
You're listening to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. In fact, you could go to our website. Please do that even when we're not broadcasting. We've got great sponsors that are bringing this program to you. They want to do business with you. There's no doubt about it. And we actually only have sponsors on our program or that are part of this program, the Real Money Pros, if we've done business with them, either personally or with our clients, meaning we've referred clients to them, tested them out, saw their service, asked questions. Really, we're vetting out good referrals for not only our clients, but also for you. You can read more about us, the Real Money Pros, the whole project of what we're doing and why we're doing it. And I can give it to you in quick summary, and I'll just say it. I've been broadcasting for 25 years. I grew up in a very blue-collar household at best where money was the issue, and I wanted to figure it out. And did I figure out a perfect solution? Nope. I have trial and error, just like everything else I do. I have figured out a better solution. It's not the only solution. It's a better solution than what most people had been doing in the past. What I've learned, Jeremiah, is that the vast majority of financial decisions are made emotionally and not with some sort of good advice or actually seeing the rest of the forest instead of being myopic and staring at the one that's right in front of them. We all do this, by the way. This is not something that, I never do. Like when it comes to my own investments, I still feel the same things you do. It's the same stuff. I just had enough training to try to ignore it, to ignore the chatter and to ignore the fear, the greed, and maybe a different level of understanding and depth in the markets themselves that it took away my distrust of it, instead looked at the opportunity of it. Are you there yet? And if you're not there yet, then we got to get you there because this is a tool. In fact, it may be the only tool that could help you get into retirement and actually have peace that you don't have to go back to work. So learn it, and please participate with us. Learn who our sponsors are. Go to therealmoneypros.com. Sign up for the newsletter. We will make you a better investor. The more you follow us, the better you will become.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can't guarantee that. I can't promise. I can't say anything like that. But you know my intentions.
No guarantees.
If I could say it, I would, but I can't.
Yeah,
because I
right.
can't.
There's compliance in the mix of this. But I want to get to the live chat feature that we have on the website. So if you're a little sheepish to call the program, we have a live chat feature on our website via therealmoneypros.com. We got a message. Looks like we got a boot on a one outlet because of college football. But the listener asks, what are your thoughts on gold? So pretty vague, but hey, listen, when you look at gold, it's obviously been on an incredible run. I think it's reaching highs. I think it's up over like around 30% so far this year to date. So clearly there is some significant price appreciation and some desire for that gold shiny piece of metal.
Okay, I have to admit it that gold has been one of the things that I've been wrong about for the entire time I've been an investment advisor. And the reason for it, I got to tell you the background on this one. One is if you ever called me and asked me what I thought of gold, I'd tell you, why would you even want to put so much money in it? And that's the reason why I don't like gold, by the way. When I would meet with clients, oftentimes, and by the way, since I broadcast commonly on conservative talk shows, talk stations, that when I'm working with investors, they're usually on the conservative side, and their default would be to not trust the financial system, focus on the debt, and things like that. It's kind of more the market that I chose to be in, right? So I hear a lot of people investing. Actually, they're betting on gold. They're betting against the economy. It's like when President Obama got put in to become president, I had so many people tell me that they were 50%, 80% in gold, out of the markets, whatever it is, because he's going to crater everything and they're never going to make money again. And so gold to me became one of those, come on, wake up. Stop talking about gold like it's this cure for everything. Like it was going to hedge off everything. Oh, it's a meltdown of the financial system and there's no dollars. Okay, yeah, you're going to get a knife out and peel off some gold and then I don't get it. My point is that concentration risk was really what I was upset about. It's not about gold itself. Okay, here's where gold is. Even to my chagrin, it's at 3,705, pretty much all-time highs for gold. If you compared that back to the 1980s price, we're talking about 10x, actually 12x. 12x. That's how much it's gone up. Since 2000, it dipped down to, what, $500? It was in there, $600 for the better part of the first decade of this 2000s. And here it is at 3,700. So gold has something in it. Is it a great hedge against a destroyed dollar? I don't know. I wonder now if cryptocurrency won't come in and replace that because of tradability. I don't like gold also because the way it's sold to people. You pick it up as some gold commercial that you'll hear, and you'll find out that they've got a bunch of added fees. Then they're trying to get you into some special minted coin. And next thing you know, you paid 50% more to get something that you had intended to buy for bullion price. And your 5% acquisition cost and another 5% to get out. So you got a 10% headwind. That's the reason why I've been resistant to saying, yeah, gold looks good. Gold looks good.
It does. That's the reality of it. Yep. And the big thing with gold is it's speculative. I mean, there's speculative investments, and gold certainly is one of those. I mean, you're completely beholden to, is gold in favor or is it not in favor? You're not looking at management of the company. You're not looking at dividends quarterly. And not saying that you need to use quarterly earnings reports as a metric, but you have, like, it's just on its own. Like, at the end of the day, is gold up or is it down? And you could look at, the various reasons of buying gold. It's a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the U.S. dollar, things of that nature. I think a lot of individuals that are real gold bugs, they're painting this scenario where the stock market is collapsed, no longer functioning, and they're going to use gold as their means of barter.
Right.
And I think that's a little bit far-fetched because you're assuming that we are in a civilized society, which has a path where you can now shave a little bit of gold off. But your gold ETF is not going to help you in that regard. So again, it's undeniably gold has done well. I would agree that there is this idea of diversification. If you've had some exposure to gold, yeah, it's likely it's juiced up some performance in your investments, particularly this year. But do we know if if there's significant dollar weakness, will gold continue to hold up? I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, there's going to be some arguments for it and probably some arguments against it. But listen, gold doesn't pay a dividend. It's speculative. I would look at it on that as its own and just don't overweight. Just be cautious. Now, if you're going to, and especially if you go the route of purchasing gold, just had this conversation with a client yesterday with an estate planning attorney where they've owned silver coins for years. They have gold bars for years. And I'm like, well, how do we take inventory of this? Like, how does this go if like we pass away? How does this pass through to our beneficiaries? I'm like, well, here's the logistical approach to this, but they're likely going to have to go to somewhere to turn that gold, assuming they're going to sell it, turn that silver into cash, and they're going to pay fees. There's going to be markup, marked down, all that, just the transaction costs of doing that. So that's the downside. And not to mention the storage of it, like if you're actually holding that tangible piece. So it's like that old saying, there's no solutions, just trade-offs. And when you're talking about gold or silver, that's certainly going to be there.
Well, the tangible effect I would equate to people with stock ownership back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. You're used to stock certificates being sent to you, and you had a certificate. So then when you had these large custodians that were working as, custodians, meaning they were saying, no, we'll just hold your shares here and you can trade them a lot faster. You don't have to, they're not certificated. You don't have to wait weeks. And then when you're going to go sell a stock that you had certificated, you had to bring it down there, have it verified, sign a bunch of paperwork, the stock power on the back and everything else, and then send it in, wait for it. It was like 2 weeks for it to finally market. So then we went into what is known as being held in street names. So you've got companies like Schwab that hold stuff on your behalf. Well, now you have instant market access. So if you're going to hold gold, my question is, why would you be holding the physical gold versus holding a gold ETF if you're using it as a hedge, clearly as a hedge? Meaning you wanted the same liquidity to be able to sell out of it without having that 10% in and out headwind of the physical gold, or the time that it takes to bring it down to some place when they're open to be able to buy it for the price that you need to sell it for.
Yeah.
Good luck. 979-59-MONEY. That's 979-596-6639. But I also do like to hold a little gold bar. It's fun. I had a client one time. He asked me, he goes, do you mind if I bring my gold in your office? I'm like, I don't mind. He walks in here carrying this canvas bag that didn't look like it had much in it, but clearly was pulling his arm down. He gets in there, opens it up on my table, and it was really cool. Gold bars, gold coins, silver, the weight, the tactile feel of it. It was about $150,000 worth at the time. So it was substantial. We're talking 10 years ago.
Yeah, the novelty piece of it's certainly there. I think it's cool, just that on its own. And a lot of clients that I've worked with that own gold, they have it for that piece. They think it's a cool thing to transfer on to kids, grandkids. I'm like, nah, that's great. That's cool. But, you know, if we're looking at from this, what's going to perform the best and what's, again, looking at the whole financial strategy, yeah, would I say steer away from gold? No, but just be cognizant of how much exposure you have to it and understand that it is one of the most speculative investments that you can be in, because is gold price up or is gold price down? And as much as people want to extract these various scenarios where it's guaranteed to be a hedge against inflation, I'd pump the brakes on that narrative.
It's clearly not up as much as the market has gone up over that same period, and you can choose just about any index you'd like and choose just about any 10-year period that you'd like. But it is a viable candidate for a portfolio. Just be careful about overweighting or doing it for emotional reasons, political reasons, any of that. It's the Real Money Pros, therealmoneypros.com. We'll be right back.
Apollon Wealth Management has transformed the way our team delivers financial advice. With their support, we're more equipped and more empowered than ever to provide top-tier financial planning, investment management, and personalized financial guidance. Apollon has been a key partner in helping us achieve our clients' unique financial goals. Whether you're an advisor looking to enhance your client experience or an investor ready to take your wealth management to the next level, reach out today to The Real Money Pros by visiting therealmoneypros.com. Let's elevate your financial future today.
I'm Nick Daniels with Tree City Advisors of Apollon. My team and I help our clients implement tax-smart strategies because taxes are one of the largest headwinds your investments face. We use strategies like Roth conversions, 1031 exchanges, and more because a good advisor should help you with more than just investment selection. Visit us today at treecityadvisors.com or call us at 208-888-1244.
Advisory services offered through Apollon Wealth Management, LLC, DBA Tree City Advisors of Apollon, an investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
I know you've been waiting a little bit longer than normal.
Jen's manicure spot needs an extra pair of hands.
Who's at the front desk right now?
Someone who's handy with everything from nail files to spreadsheet files.
Deidre's not coming in today, but we have that whole bachelorette party.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a financial advisor, I often see that many families I meet with end up paying way too much money in taxes. If a healthy family has an insurance plan with a low deductible but high annual premium, why wouldn't they look at a high deductible insurance plan instead? They could save on their premiums and put those saved dollars into a health savings account, also known as an HSA. It's the most powerful tax advantage account title available to us, so why not use it? Take advantage of pre-tax money that could be grown tax-free and then use tax-free for all of your qualified healthcare expenses. That's why you need Lively. Our favorite because it's simple, fast, and free. I use it, my colleagues use it, and I recommend it to all of my clients. Visit Lively right away. You can even roll over your existing HSA money into this new plan and start saving right away. I know you're going to love the entire experience. Visit livelyme.com/pro today. That's livelyme.com/PRO. Lively is a proud sponsor of the Real Money Pros.
Back to the Real Money Pros.
We are back. TheRealMoneyPros.com. Actually, I had a great question. This one came from my son, Cooper, during the program. He does the video work here. He's graduating from Boise State University at the end of this semester. He's smart. He's finance major, so he's learning a ton too. And he says, hey, what do you think about this Trump, was it the golden card? What do they call it? Let's see here. The Trump gold card. What do you think the effect will be of the Trump gold card? Well, I just read that news story last night. How President Trump has passed some sort of an executive order increasing the price for an HB1 visa to $100,000. That's up from $200. Okay, let's just be clear. So people who are buying it for $200 and coming to the United States and working for companies and earning lots of money and then taking that money back to their countries and their technology they learned is, for all intents and purposes, probably over. Companies can pay it on the behalf of the employees, but they were supposed to pay double. I noticed that was in there. So essentially, what is he trying to do? And my son asked, he goes, well, does this affect, the wealth classes? Will this concentrate wealth in one direction or the other? And I said, that's a great question. I actually don't know. I got to think about that one, noodle it over a little bit. 979-59-MONEY. What are your opinions about it? Do you have an opinion, good or bad, on HB1 visas being increased to $100,000 or this new gold card for $5 million where you get permanent status and 9 months tax-free and all this other stuff?
Well, I think
for $5 million.
Like one argument that I saw that speaks to that potential wealth gap or, the negative consequence of this is that you're creating a fast lane way for someone to basically live in the United States strictly based on them being wealthy, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's just a clear advantage, like meaning are we getting skilled workers that are does that classify the skilled workers that are participating in the labor workforce? Probably not, meaning it's just a wealthy individual that's got $1 million, $2 million liquid that they can say, hey, I want to go live in the United States, and they go ahead and drop that money down. Now you could say that, okay, if there's high demand, that could help offset, the deficit spending. But then again, that really is going to come to how many people fit in that category are going to do that. I don't think I would agree with you. It's not going to make a dent in that regard. So I could see how that would be looked at negatively as far as that gold card of just, hey, give us a gift. You pay us $1 to $2 million unrestricted, and then you have the ability to be here. But yeah, I could see how that could affect the wealth gap, because then again, you're getting this upper echelon class of people with net worth that are just paying their way to get in the United States, and they're not necessarily participating in the labor force, adding to the tax revenue and all that. At least my take anyways. But then again, I haven't really dove into this at all.
If you had 100,000 people take it, pay the $5 million, then yep, it would be a chunk. $500 billion roughly, right? Okay, but you're not going to have 100,000 people do this. You're going to get 100, maybe. And then they're going to come here. Let's talk about the reasons why you'd want to increase the cost of an HB1 visa by $100,000. It's to encourage, I believe, the advancement of education and technology careers here in the United States. Like, for example, so if you've got a company now that has to face either paying $100,000 or $200,000 for somebody to come over from, let's say, India to be some technical expert within their computer chip manufacturing company, as opposed to they could look at students and say, hey, we'd be willing to entice you to come work with us, and we've got some money set aside to even help you pay off some college debt, get you there, encourage them to get advanced degrees, and to replace them. I think altruistically, that is the reason why he's doing it.
Yeah.
Is to motivate us. Money motivates us. Money motivates our kids too. And so they would go to college if they heard that there's more money out there. How much did Zuckerberg just offer somebody at ChatGPT or one of the AI companies?
It wasn't ChatGPT. It was another AI company. I forgot the name.
$1 billion.
It was $1 billion to get
for 1
this
year.
individual. Yeah.
$1 billion pay package. And the guy declined it. No,
well, then that goes back to Mike's initial question around the AI bubble that we're in. Like, yeah, if you're offering $1 billion to an individual to help fortify your AI program, yeah, things could be a little bit frothy. That's an argument for the frothiness that's swirling around this AI side of things. But when you talk about the HB1 holders, it's interesting. I mean, just cursory look at articles coming through that you look at companies that are employing the most H1B holders, and it's Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, Google. How do they take this approach? Meaning at the corporate level, can you take that cost? Meaning essentially sponsor them, pay that to the U.S., and is there breaks and things like that? I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see.
Think it'll last? Nope.
No.
Nope, me either. It's going to be contested. It'll be taken away, but nonetheless, at least it's there. And that's really kind of the conversation that has been had. Like, for example, these motorcycle wheels that I have stuck at some customs place right now, they came from China. I mean, that's just the fact. It's the place that makes the stupid motorcycle that I'm putting them on. And they wanted higher tariff on it. So apparently FedEx is sitting on it somewhere, I think in Missouri. And I'm supposed to pay the tariff amount. I wouldn't have bought them. If I'd have known I had to pay more, it was not on the Amazon listing for these particular wheels. These are just cheap wheels. And it's going to cost another 45%, I think. Is that what the tariff is now? Who knows? I honestly don't know.
It's hard to keep track because here's the thing. There's been deals made. There's been extensions. There's been carve-outs for certain items. So it's not just these sweeping tariffs that everyone feared and that was concerned about. There was concessions made. I mean, I got to be honest, I haven't stayed up on it from like day to day or week to week because it's just a evolving thing. But I do believe with China, there's an extension. No official deal that's been made. I think there was a conversation between those two world leaders this week with Trump and Xi. So we'll see. But from my understanding, that there's an extension that I think ends in October or November, if I believe. So which will probably if we're following suit of what's going through so far this year, it'll likely there'll be no deal made and there'll be an extension and another deferral. So I think that's the most likely outcome. So hard to really hang your hat on where these tariffs are actually going to fall for certain items. And we've certainly seen that with commentary from companies that have done their most recent earnings reports. Like FedEx was interesting, where they actually beat expectations, but they're certainly taking a hit on their shipment and revenue generated from China and other countries. I mean, that's fallen off a cliff. However, they've helped mitigate that from expansion and high revenue in the United States or other countries where there's really not that tariff issue. So I think that I know a different tangent here, but I think it speaks to these companies being resourceful. You got good American companies, they're going to take these things in stride, they're going to recalibrate, and the good ones are going to come out and prevail no matter what they're dealing with when it comes to tariffs and these types of things.
So I'm actually glad that my package is hung up there, and the reason for it is because I wasn't aware of the de minimis rule until it became a conversation this year about how small packages would enter the United States without having to go through, bill of ladings and everything to be able to be tariffed as far as what was inside these things. And now that is the case, and that's the reason why my package is hung up. I learned about that. I'm like, what? You kidding me? That's how Temu got started. That's how all of those, they were just doing workarounds. It's almost like if they had sent everything over in a shipping container, it's going to be tariffed, but you send it over in little pieces via FedEx, and it's not. Which one are you going to choose? Oh, just break it apart. Consumers will pay it. And we did. And look what it did. to our economy. We have so much that we're purchasing from countries like that we don't want to do business with anymore. So I'm glad it's there. I just don't believe that these are going to be necessarily the long-term solutions. That's all.
Yeah, I think there's there's two sides of this coin, right? From a higher level from America first. I think most Americans would agree that we do want to have this American first side of things. But you also have these small businesses that are doing big orders from China and getting this product for cheap, and then they're doing some adjustments and then reselling it, and that's how they make their money. I mean, that is their business model. And I think there's a lot of concerns for individuals like, that my ability to maintain profitability is completely going to go away. And then you got to look at how does that affect the greater economy of, okay, if you have these small business owners that are selling these items, they're making a profit, putting more money in the economy, people are buying, meaning money's flowing. If that goes out of the way and you have these small businesses that their model is basically rug pulled out from under them, what is the short and midterm effect with that? And it's just yet to be seen. But that was one thing that I had top of mind with, there's two sides of this coin. There's this idea of America first, all that, charging high tariffs. But then you also have the people of like, that's what they've known, and how do they navigate that?
I do believe that it probably will add to the wealth effect. This does separate us probably a little bit further too. Now that I'm giving that more thought, listening to you the whole bit. 979-59-MONEY is the phone line, but you can find us anytime at therealmoneypros.com. Sign up for the newsletter, please. We've got lots of great advice that will come to you quarterly. It's free. Our advertisers support it. We want you to support the program as well. Go to therealmoneypros.com, communicate with us, ask us questions, listen to every program, pick up the podcast, and please like us. Have a great weekend.
The Real Money Pros is hosted by Brian Wiley and other team members of Tree City Advisors.